She worked 2 jobs to raise her son. People said she couldn't do it alone, but she never gave up, and years later, her son graduated as an engineer, because strength is love. It was another freezing winter morning when Laura's alarm buzzed at 4:30 a.m., cutting through the silence of her tiny apartment. While most of the world was still asleep, she swung her legs off the bed, tied her hair back, and forced herself to move. Her eyes softened once she looked at her son, Ethan, still curled up under the blanket, breathing softly. That sight was the only peace she had. And that little boy? He was her reason to keep going. Laura had been doing this for years, working 2 jobs, barely sleeping, but never complaining. Her husband had left when Ethan was just a baby, leaving behind nothing but a note that said, "You'll be better off without me." Maybe she was. But that didn't make life any easier. Every morning, she dropped Ethan off with a neighbor, rushed to the diner for her first shift, then cleaned offices in the evening. By the time she came home, her hands were off from scrubbing floors, her legs trembled with exhaustion, and her back screamed for rest. Still, every night, she sat beside Ethan as he did his homework. He'd look up and ask, "Mom, why do you work so much?" And she'd smile softly and whisper, "So one day, you won't have to." People in the neighborhood whispered behind her back, "She can't handle it alone. That boy won't go far without a father." But Laura never listened. She didn't have time for pity, only for hope. There were nights when the lights went out because she couldn't pay the bill. Nights when she skipped dinner so Ethan could eat. Nights when she cried quietly, holding a pillow over her face so he wouldn't hear. But every tear she shed only made her stronger. Years passed. Ethan grew up, curious, bright, and determined. He saw everything. He saw her hands blistered from cleaning. He saw her eyes heavy with fatigue, yet shining with pride every time he brought home good grades. He saw her smile, even when life gave her no reason to, and he made himself a promise, to make her proud. He studied harder, worked part-time jobs, and dreamed bigger. Because his mother never taught him how to quit. Then came graduation day. Laura stood at the very back of the crowded auditorium, wearing the same old coat she'd worn for years. When they called Ethan's name as valedictorian, the entire hall erupted in applause. But Laura? She just stood there, tears filling her eyes, her heart swelling with pride. Ethan walked up to the podium, looked straight at her, and said, "Everything I am today is because of my mother. She taught me that strength doesn't come from having it easy. It comes from love that never gives up." The crowd went silent, and for the first time in years, Laura cried, not from pain, but from pride. Years later, on a bright summer morning, Laura stood in front of a brand new house, the one Ethan had bought for her. He opened the door with a smile, wearing a crisp shirt and an engineering badge pinned to his chest. "Mom," he said, his voice warm, "you don't have to work anymore." Laura looked around. A real home. Sunlight filled the room, bouncing off the walls that once only existed in her dreams. She thought about every cold night she'd gone hungry, every morning she'd pushed through the pain, every moment she almost gave up, and now. This. Her son, not just successful, but kind, humble, and strong. She wrapped her arms around him and whispered, "You were always my reason. And now, you're my reward." That night, Laura sat by the window, staring at the stars. She thought about everyone who doubted her, the voices that once told her she couldn't make it. They were wrong, because love, real love, makes you stronger than fear, stronger than pain, stronger than loneliness. Moral: a mother's love is the most powerful force on earth. It doesn't ask for anything, but it gives everything. True strength isn't about never falling, it's about never quitting. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more real, emotional, and inspiring stories, because somewhere out there, someone like Laura is still fighting, and your one click might just give them hope.